Hey, Steve here at Silk Road Catalyst. There has been a lot of talk lately about Ravi Zacharias, but I'm not here to address his scandal, but to take what I've learned from it and then challenge churches to be involved with their missionaries. Now let's get to it. I know I often encourage our viewers to share our videos, but this is one video you need to share, specifically with your church if your church plans to send or sends missionaries. And this includes simply supporting them as they serve through a third-party organization like Silk Road Catalyst. The whole situation around the life of Ravi Zacharias is deeply concerning. As I watched the news unfold, one of the issues that kept surfacing is the fact that there were red flags, signs, and people in authority who had some idea something was amiss, yet seemingly doing nothing about it. This was a critical failure. So how does this relate to local churches and the missionaries they send? Now, I'm not saying all missionaries fall into some sinful trap like what I'm talking about with Ravi Zacharias. But the fact is, missionaries struggle a lot. The pressures and stresses of living cross-culturally can amplify one's temptations. If accountability is not present, then it's so much easier to hide and cover it up, especially when you're thousands of miles away from your home church. Now, most missionaries who serve with an organization may or may not have a team, but they often have a resource called member care. This is basically counseling services for missionaries. When a missionary acknowledges a problem or struggle, the member care team steps in to assist, or they should. But while this is a great resource, it does fall short when only the organization is involved with providing it. This is why the local church should be involved at all times. With that said, I'm going to share 4 things your church should do to help provide missionaries with the care and accountability they need. First, communicate with your missionaries often. If you don't communicate with your missionary, they may not think you actually care about them. And how will you know what they're walking through if you're not talking with them? Recently, I was speaking with Denny Spitters. He's the Vice President for Church Partnerships at Pioneers. He told me that in 2021, today, churches are communicating less with their missionaries than they were 20 to 30 years ago. Yet we have far more communication resources at our disposal today than we have ever had in history. In fact, they allow us to communicate instantly with nearly anyone in the world at any moment. Yet churches are communicating less. Second, create a plan for accountability and care. While it's good and right to be concerned about their ministry is not your primary concern. Rather, it's your missionary, their lives, their family, their marriage, their mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So create a plan to hold them holistically accountable while providing them care. And yes, hold them accountable for ministry, but don't make that your primary concern. I know you want them to succeed, but if they are not healthy, they will probably not succeed. Third, give your missionaries the freedom to speak freely. Living in a foreign culture will change them, and I know this by experience. Missionaries do not return home the same person they left as. I get that most of you don't understand that kind of change, but whether you can personally relate or not is not critical. Being a listening ear and someone they can speak freely with is. So give your missionaries the freedom to speak whatever they are wrestling with. And here's a tip. Don't take it personally. And finally, support, commission, and send only those who are willing to be held accountable by your church. I'm not talking about micromanaging them, because unless you serve cross-culturally, you're not going to understand what they're about to encounter. But make sure you communicate to any potential missionary candidate in your church what will be expected of them and how you will serve them. If they don't like your sending criteria and expectations, don't support, commission, or send them until they are willing to accept your leadership in their lives. Now, I would be amiss if I didn't at least say something to the missionary or missionary candidate who is watching. God established authority over all our lives, myself included. And one of those authorities is the local church. We need to embrace it. And I know some of you have, but I also know some of you have not. If you can't, I encourage you to find a local church that you can submit to, because you need it. I need it. Every believer needs it. I'll see you next time.